Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Lessons for Life from Swami Jagdatmananji's inspiring bestseller Learn to Live, Volume 2, Chapter 3. Incredible but true. Reincarnation of the soul is a fact. Dream having a verifiable real basis is one of the proofs of reincarnation. This is discussed in this episode. Not dream, but reality. There are a number of instances where scientists, mathematicians have found a solution to their problems in a dream. One such person was Ramanujan, the great mathematician of our country. Such incidents prove that our consciousness functions at different levels. Another incident examined by experts is this. At Winter Park in Florida, America, lived a lady, about 30 years old. Her name was Elizabeth Wilson. Many times in a dream, she saw the horrifying scene of the famous gigantic ship Titanic sinking in the sea, and she screamed in horror. She saw herself dressed in brown silk, standing on the dancing floor of the ship. She clearly saw the swaying chandeliers and a room flooded with light. As she came out of her room and reached the outer parts of the ship, she smelled the salt water of the sea. She saw people jumping into lifeboats. The ship slanted on its side and sank in the midst of the frightened cries of the people. She herself also was drowned in the dark water. As the ship sank down, it was dark for a moment everywhere. After some time, she found herself in front of Kensington, the house near a park in Boston. She seemed to visualize a young man standing outside the house. He had a long face and dark eyes. It was her husband. Her dream ended at this point. She saw this dream several times. Dr. Ian Stevenson, Chairman, Department of Psychiatry, Virginia University, and his associates who were engaged in research on memories of other lives, got interested in this case and started an investigation. A resident of Florida, Elizabeth, had never visited Boston. Stevenson and friends went to Boston and searched for the house, and they did find the house described by Elizabeth as seen in her dream. It had the same name, Kensington. It had the same color as described by Elizabeth. They met there a man who was nearly 80. His face was long and his eyes were dark. In the course of the conversation, they asked him about his life. They were in for a surprise. He narrated the story of how his young wife had disappeared when she was returning home by the ship Titanic. Describing the tragedy, he heaved a sigh. They asked him whether he had a photograph of his wife. He took out a copy of the photograph from the drawer. They were taken aback. The photo appeared to be a reproduction of Elizabeth in Florida. Was there any connection between the present mental condition and the tragedy of a previous life? Why did she get so upset at the sight of brown color? Why did she get frightened by the very mention of the name of the sea? Are dreams a window to the deeper cells of human consciousness? Swami Jagdatmananji concludes by saying the fact that her dream had a verifiable real basis is a proof of the phenomenon of reincarnation. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.